So before we begin any project, we ideally need a good, well thought out design brief to begin the design process. As discussed in a previous video, a good design brief is one that includes all the key information a designer can use to create the best result. Now, it's not always the case that a design brief will be presented to you. Depending on who you're working for or with, you may be given a well-detailed brief, you may be given some verbal instructions, or you may be given no brief at all. Some clients may feel that a meeting will be more beneficial, where ideas and the project can be discussed verbally in a more informal and collaborative scenario. Whatever the case may be, you will want to establish a solid design brief before starting a design project. In this video, I'm going to showcase some free resources you can use to help create a brief for yourself in the event you are not given one. If you wish to follow along and acquire these, you can download them for free, the link is in the description. So in the event you are not issued with a design brief before a project, understanding what the client wants and extracting key information from them to build the brief can be a big challenge. Key information will rarely be submitted to you by the client. More often than not, you will have to actively seek the information from the client yourself. Today, there are many ways you can acquire the information you need. You can do this over the telephone, a video call, a workshop, a meeting face-to-face, or over email via a questionnaire. Now, there is no right way of doing this. Depending on your circumstance, you should do what's best for you and your client. However, there are methods which can be more beneficial and yield more information which you can use to develop a design brief. When discussing projects, initially, it's always better to do this in person or over the phone. Having workshops with your clients and team members can be the most beneficial, as you can set a time to discuss the project casually and ask lots of questions to extract key information to learn about the project. Now, sometimes, due to circumstances such as time and cost, you may not be able to do that. In my experience, I find having an initial call with a client and using a client brief sheet brings back all the key information I need. This is basically a very clear questionnaire for the client to fill in at the very start of a project. Now, this may require the client to do a little homework or get their marketing team involved if they have one, but should not take them too long to articulate some answers. Remember, it's really important they do this. Encouraging the client to think about their project will uncover crucial information that can be included in a brief. This gives a designer inspiration, which can lead to a really appropriate creative solution. So to help collect information from a client, you can start with a client brief sheet. So in the downloadable folder, you will find 3 folders. The first folder is called Project Questionnaire, and in this folder, you will find a text file. This is a basic document I have put together, which I send to the client for them to fill in. Now, I use this to extract key information from the client and help them think about the criteria for their project, what it is, and what they want to achieve. The questionnaire contains all the key touch points of the design brief, with questions for each to help the client understand how they will need to answer. In my experience, the client is pretty receptive to this and will take a little time to fill this in. Now, the next folder is Project Questionnaire to print. In this folder, you will find one PDF document. If you open this, you will find a blank questionnaire sheet. Now, if you plan on gathering information verbally at a meeting or over the phone instead of over email, you can print this off and use it to take notes to acquire the key information for the project. So here you have the flexibility to use either a print or digital client questionnaire sheet. So the last folder is Brief Template. In this folder, you will find a template for InDesign and one for Illustrator. Now, these are some documents I have prepared that I use to drop in all the information I receive from the client questionnaire sheets. So first, I'll open the InDesign template. Once open, you will see that this goes across 5 pages. Here you can paste information into each section or customize accordingly. Now, if you press W on the keyboard to activate normal mode, you can see that I have placed some type in tables to maintain a good structure, and some outside. This is all placed neatly into one continuous frame which carries over onto page 2 and 3 to make it easy to manage. The deliverable section is contained in a separate frame, and there is also an extra page for any additional notes. Now you may notice that the default font is set to Arial. If you come up to Window, scroll down to Styles and click Character Styles, in the panel you will see the styles set for the type in the document. Here we can see section headers, paragraph, and subheaders. Now if you double click on these, the character style options menu box will open, and if you click on basic character formats on the left, you can change the font properties over on the right, and this will be applied to the entire document. Do this for each style and you will be able to apply your own font. Now, should you want to check the boxes to highlight requirements, carefully click on the box stroke, and over in the Tools menu, click the Swap Fill and Stroke arrows just above the fill and stroke color to fill in the box. So the next template is an Illustrator file. Now, if you do not have InDesign or prefer to use Illustrator, you can use this one. Once open, you will find this much the same as the InDesign, though with a different layout. This is because Illustrator works a little different from InDesign and you cannot have frames going over pages. Here you can also customize the fonts by coming up to Window, scrolling down to Type, then over to Type Styles, and just like in InDesign, you will see the character styles for section headers, paragraph, and subheaders. Double click on these and you can edit the styles and change your desired typeface. So once you have placed all the key information from your project sheets into the templates, you can then export these off as PDF documents. These can now be shared and discussed with the client for approval or refinements. Once this is all approved, the design process can begin. So to recap on this video, the key things to remember are: use the project client questionnaire sheet to acquire information if you can't have a workshop. Then use the design brief templates to place in your information to build a brief to seek approval from the client. Once signed off, you will be ready to start the design process. So that is how you can effectively create a design brief from scratch. Please feel free to download and use the templates. I hope they are useful to you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of more design discussion videos like this in future. Also, if any of you have any other design topics you would like me to discuss, be sure to pop them in the comment section or email me at creative@garethdavidstudio.com, and I'll look to create another discussion video like this in future. Until then, have fun guys, and I'll see you next time.